You've done the hard part. 7 days of strategic eating, low methionine windows, polyphenol stacks, steamed sweet potatoes instead of baked ones, broth instead of a full meal. Your cells have been running the cleanup cycle, recycling damaged proteins, clearing dysfunctional mitochondria, running the biological housekeeping that most people never give their bodies the conditions to complete. And now it's day 8. And the most common question I get at this exact moment is, how do I eat now? Can I just go back to normal? Here's the honest answer. You can, eventually. But if you go straight from deep cellular repair mode back to a full high-protein meal, you're making the transition harder than it needs to be on your digestive system, your hormonal signaling, and the very cellular environment you just spent a week building. Not because eating will undo the repair you've done, that work is already complete, but because after a week of low-protein, strategically sequenced eating, your body's anabolic machinery is primed and sensitive in a way it normally isn't. And how you flip that switch from cleanup mode to rebuild mode, the speed, the sequence, the amino acid profile, determines how efficiently your body uses the next 48 hours. Today, we're going through exactly how to do it right. The science of transitioning out of deep autophagy, the specific foods, the specific sequence, and the specific reasons each step works the way it does. Let's get into it. Here's the simplest way to understand what's been happening during the past 7 days. Your body has 2 primary metabolic modes. Build mode, where mTOR is active, amino acids are abundant, and your cells are focused on growth, protein synthesis, and structural repair. And cleanup mode, where mTOR is quieted, AMPK is elevated, and your cells are focused on recycling, clearing, and quality control. The 7-day protocol was designed to push you toward cleanup mode. Lower methionine signaling, lower leucine input, higher polyphenol, and spermidine loading, steamed rather than baked starches to preserve resistant starch and support butyrate production. All of it sending the same message. Conditions are lean. Run the maintenance cycle, and it worked. But here's what's important to understand now that you're on the other side. Autophagy is not a permanent destination. It is one half of a biological cycle. Your cells don't just need to clean, they need to rebuild. The structural proteins that were recycled during autophagy need to be replaced. The mitochondria that survived mitophagy need membrane lipid support and micronutrients to maintain their efficiency. The muscle tissue that has been operating in a protein-conserving state needs a clear anabolic signal that abundance has returned, that it is safe to rebuild, not just maintain. That signal comes from amino acids. Specifically, it comes from leucine, the primary mTOR activating amino acid, rising back into circulation. When leucine hits the amino acid sensors in your cells after a period of deliberate restriction, mTOR reactivates. And that reactivation is not something to fear. It is the second half of the cycle doing its job. The question isn't whether to reactivate mTOR. The question is how. Because there's a meaningful biological difference between mTOR gradually coming back online, reading the return of amino acids as a controlled shift, and mTOR getting slammed back to full activation by a large high-protein meal in a digestive system that has been operating on minimal load for a week. Gradual is better, and that's what Day 8 is designed to deliver. Let me explain why the first protein source you choose on Day 8 matters more than any other meal in the protocol. We've talked throughout this series about methionine, the sulfur-containing amino acid associated with mTOR signaling and accelerated aging when chronically excessive without proper nutritional balance. What most people don't think about is the other side of that equation. After 7 days of deliberately lower methionine intake, your body has adapted to a quieter protein environment. The specific enzymes that process protein have essentially been running in a lower gear all week, which makes your body much more sensitive to the first strong protein signal it receives. Which means if Day 8 opens with a large serving of chicken breast, a whey protein shake, or a steak, all high methionine, high leucine protein sources, the mTOR signal those foods generate may feel much more abrupt than it normally would. Not dangerous, not medically alarming, but aggressive. And your digestive system, which has also been operating on reduced load for a week, hasn't fully recalibrated yet. A 2024 study from MIT researchers found that post-fast refeeding drives significant activation in intestinal stem cells, triggering regeneration of the intestinal lining. That's genuinely positive for gut recovery. But the researchers also noted that this heightened cellular activity represents a period of increased sensitivity, where the composition of the refeeding meal appears to matter. And this is exactly why bone broth matters here. If the gut lining is entering a highly responsive rebuilding state, the smartest first move is a gentle liquid, rich in the exact amino acids those cells use most directly. So what's the right first signal? Not chicken breast, not whey, not a 3-egg scramble with smoked salmon. The right first signal is collagen, specifically in the form of bone broth. Here's why. Collagen protein is predominantly glycine and proline, amino acids naturally lower in methionine than most muscle meats. Glycine also plays an important balancing role in methionine metabolism, which is one reason it's been discussed so heavily throughout this series. Bone broth delivers these amino acids in a warm, liquid form that places very little demand on digestion. It also provides glutamine, a key fuel source for the cells lining the intestine, alongside electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and trace minerals that may help replenish what was lost during the cleanup phase. 1 to 2 cups of quality bone broth is one of the gentlest ways to begin day 8. It tells your body that nutrition is returning, but it says it quietly. A whisper, not a shout. Now let's walk through what happens after the bone broth, because the sequencing of the first several hours on day 8 genuinely changes how smooth this transition feels. Think of it this way. You've just spent a week running cleanup mode. The crew has been clearing debris, recycling components, running quality control on every major system. Now the building materials are arriving back at the site. If they arrive all at once, an overwhelming delivery of high leucine, high methionine protein. Before the construction crew has had time to organize and prepare, a portion of those materials may not get used efficiently for rebuilding, and I know, after a week of careful eating, it's tempting to just grab a burger and celebrate. But right now, your internal construction crew is basically standing on the site without their hard hats on yet. Let's give them a minute to gear up. But if the materials arrive gradually, first the structural compounds from bone broth, then a gentle dose of plant protein, then higher quality complete proteins later, the system handles the transition much more smoothly. Here's what that staging looks like in practice. Stage 1. Bone broth window, first 2 hours of day 8. 1 to 2 cups of bone broth, warm with a small pinch of mineral salt. No solid food yet. This does 3 things simultaneously. It helps restore electrolytes. It delivers glycine and glutamine to the gut lining during this highly responsive rebuilding period. And it provides a gentle amino acid signal without the abrupt stimulation associated with heavier protein sources. Stage 2. Light plant protein, 2 to 4 hours in. 2 hours after your broth, introduce your first solid food. Red lentil soup is ideal. Miso broth with a small amount of soft tofu. Steamed edamame. These foods provide amino acids, including leucine, but in a more moderate concentration than dense animal proteins. Your digestive enzymes begin ramping back up. Insulin rises modestly. Muscle cells begin pulling nutrients in efficiently again. The construction shift is beginning, but even here, with the lentils and plant proteins, we still haven't fully flipped the rebuild switch yet. That happens with the specific evening meal we're about to cover. Stage 3. First complete protein source, 4 to 6 hours in. 4 to 6 hours into day 8, you're ready for your first complete high biological value protein source. And this is where the sequence becomes elegant. Wild-caught salmon is one of the best choices at this stage for 3 reasons. First, its methionine content is lower than many other common animal proteins, making the transition gentler while still delivering the amino acids needed for muscle protein synthesis. Second, its EPA and DHA omega-3 content supports the cellular membrane environment you've spent the past week improving. And third, it's relatively easy to digest, especially when lightly steamed or poached instead of heavily grilled. 4 to 6 ounces of salmon alongside steamed vegetables and a small serving of complex carbohydrates, sweet potato or quinoa, creates a balanced day 8 evening meal. Everything before it was preparation. This is where rebuilding begins in earnest. Here's the question that comes up every time I discuss the transition protocol. Am I going to lose muscle from a week of lower protein eating? It's a fair question, and the honest answer is nuanced. During the lower methionine phases of the protocol, protein intake was reduced, not eliminated. Plant proteins, legumes, and moderate amounts of lower methionine animal sources were still included. What was reduced specifically were the dense, high leucine protein loads associated with aggressive mTOR activation. And that's an important distinction. Meaningful muscle loss generally requires both insufficient protein and insufficient muscular stimulus. A week of moderated protein intake alongside regular movement is very different from prolonged inactivity and severe protein deprivation. But day 8 does represent the point where muscle protein synthesis benefits from a stronger rebuilding signal. And there are a few biofeedback signals worth paying attention to as you move through the day. The first is hunger quality. By day 8, many people notice a cleaner, more purposeful appetite, less random craving, more genuine readiness for nourishment. The second is digestive comfort. If the broth and lentils digest smoothly without bloating or discomfort, your digestive system is likely adapting well to the transition. And the third is energy quality. Many people report steadier baseline energy after the cleanup phase. Fewer crashes, less dependence on stimulants, more stable focus. Those signals together suggest the system is ready for rebuilding. Bone broth to lentils to salmon. Clean staging. Gradual reactivation. A controlled transition from repair mode into recovery mode. Let's land this. Day 8 is not the breaking of the protocol. It is the protocol completing its cycle. Your cells spent a week clearing damage, recycling components, and improving internal quality control. Now they need the raw materials to rebuild. Bone broth helps the digestive system receive nutrition gently again. Lentils and plant proteins begin reintroducing amino acids gradually. Fermented foods support the microbial environment of the gut during the transition. And salmon provides the complete protein and omega-3 support needed for rebuilding to begin more fully. Then sleep finishes the process. Because much of the rebuilding your body performs, muscle protein synthesis, hormonal recovery, tissue repair, happens during deep sleep. 3 phases, 7 days, 1 complete biological cycle. Clean, rebuild, repeat. That's the system. The cleanup phase is over. Now the rebuilding begins. And honestly, this is the part most people never learn. Anyone can restrict, anyone can fast, anyone can push the body into stress. Very few people learn how to guide the body safely back into strength afterward, but that's where long-term resilience is built, not just in clearing damage, in rebuilding intelligently afterward. That's what day 8 is really about, not punishment, not perfection, recovery with precision. And if you've made it this far through the protocol, you've already done something most people never do. You've learned how to work with your biology instead of constantly fighting against it. And over time, that changes more than people realize.